Morning, everybody. Hey, I hope you had a nice week and especially a nice Mother's Day weekend. Once again, I have a shout out to our Vincentians in Perryville, Missouri, especially those Vincentians who are in need of healing, who are there. Please know we're praying for you. Also, I have a personal shout out to people who have asked for our prayers and are in need of God's special healing. And so I remember in a special way Laura and Bill and Roy and Debbie. May God be with you. Now, my inspiration for this week for us is more one of gratitude. And I'm grateful to a saint who we honor today. Her feast day is on Sunday, but because of Sunday feast, it's transferred to Monday. And the saint is Louise de Marillac. Now, obviously, those of you who know us as Vincentians, you know how special she is because she was a collaborator with Vincent de Paul, someone who deeply cared for the poor, just like Vincent de Paul. And she was recognized by Pope John the 23rd. As a matter of fact, he named her as a patron of social workers. He was aware of her love of the poor and taking care of people. And so I have a special feeling for Louise de Marillac, not just because of her collaboration with Vincent, not because of her love of the poor and being someone who really was an ultimate social worker, but because of her being the instrument of bringing the Daughters of Charity into the world. She's the founder of the group of nuns called the Daughters of Charity. And she with St. Vincent had this love of the poor and had not only the Ladies of Charity, who were a lay group of women who cared for the poor, but then also the Daughters of Charity. And I have a special love of them because of their influence on me from my childhood. And so, even to this day, if the Daughters of Charity call, I'll be there. My brother's the same way. As a matter of fact, this past week, he conducted a retreat for the Daughters of Charity in Evansville, Indiana. And next month, I'll go there and conduct a retreat for the Daughters of Charity. That they're so responsible for who I am and what I am. I mean, my parents and the Vincentians, and in a special way, the Daughters of Charity, are responsible for all those things that are so important to me, even to this day. My faith, the love of family, the love of church, my priesthood. The Daughters of Charity had an influence on that, a major influence. I mean, they were the nuns that we had in school. I mean, the Vincentians ran the parish, and our mom and dad had such a love, not only the Vincentians, but especially the Daughters of Charity, because they were nuns who didn't have anything, and yet they were there to make sure that we had everything. I remember our dad, he didn't have any money, but by God, he could raise money for the church. I mean, he was a convert, and I recall times as a kid where if the Daughters of Charity wanted something, he'd get it done. He was responsible for them getting a new house for their convent in LaSalle, St. Patrick's Parish in LaSalle. The Daughters of Charity just are that special of a group. And Louise de Marillac is the one who kind of is the symbol for that. You know, and I have a special sense of gratitude to the Daughters of Charity for my education, for my inspiration to be priest. I was thinking about a story about, appreciation of kids in school. And there's a story of little Billy. He's a fourth grader, and he belongs to a school, and every month some class was picked to have some student get before all of the students at an assembly and say something good about what happened during the month. So he was picked as a fourth grader to go before everybody in the school to talk about what was good for the month. And he got up and he had this little piece of paper and he was reading and he said, "Oh, this is such a great month in school. I love it. We got the greatest teacher in the world. She does everything for us. She should get a raise." And then he stopped and he hesitated and everybody was waiting for him to say what was next. And then finally he said, I apologize. I'm having a trouble reading my teacher's handwriting. No, I don't need the Daughters of Charity to write something out for me to say thank you. They have such an influence on me, and they are a great group of women. And so I'm grateful to Louise de Marillac, whose feast day it is today. I'm grateful that she had the vision to have found a group of women who could have that much of an impact on the world. And so I'm grateful. And I will be forever grateful. And I hope, if you didn't have the Daughters of Charity, maybe you can take today and say a little prayer for those who have had an influence on you to help you decide what you wanted to be or to influence in you to be somebody. And obviously that's our parents, and maybe there's somebody from the church. Maybe it's somebody who taught you. Take the time today to say thank you in your own way. Let God know how much you appreciate it. And I always appreciate all that God does, and I'm sure you do too. And so that's why every once in a while, maybe every day, we ought to say thank you, and we ought to continue to ask Him for His help. So that's why we say our mission prayer. And so please join me. Divine Savior, transform me into yourself. May my hands be your hands. May my tongue be your tongue. Grant that every faculty of my body may serve only to glorify you. Above all, transform my soul and all its powers. Then my memory, my will, and my affections may be the memory, the will, and the affections of you. I pray you to destroy in me all that is not of you. Grant that I may live but in you and by you and for you, and that I may truly say with St. Paul, I live now, not I, but Christ lives in me. God bless. Stay safe, and see you next week.